So I'm going to ask you the same question I ask everybody, which, of course, is terrifying for entrepreneurs. Tell us what your business does in a sentence.
Sure, we do visual search, and we provide a SDK and an API to customers that will allow them to be able to use our visual search technology in their app or in their retail application.
Great, show us.
Sure, sounds great.
Because visual search technology, like when you say that, I think 1999, 2000, 2001, like we've seen visual search technology for a long time, correct?
Give me an example of what you would call visual search.
Like you upload an image to Google and it shows you things that are similar to it.
Sure.
Like that's been around for a while, like facial recognition and that kind of stuff.
Right, so being able to immediately interact on an impulse is really what our objective is. So being able to see something online and visually search something similar and buy it instantly, or see something in the real world and be able to recognize it instantly and be able to purchase it.
So more like, what is that, Shazam, the app for music?
Like the Shazam stuff is what we've been referred to.
Oh, you have? Okay,
yeah.
All right, let's see it.
Let's call this the Shazam stuff. So,
right, so we're going to pull up the computer?
So I'm just going to turn on my, here we go.
Reflector. Hopefully that works.
Yeah.
Sometimes when there's a lot of Wi-Fi, the reflector thing doesn't work.
So,
so we're going to pull your computer up on the screen. Who's paying attention back there in the booth? There you go. Okay, now it's there. Okay. So this is an app.
Sure. So this is one of our customers, StyleFind. So they're a fashion community, if you will.
StyleFind.
StyleFind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've got about 17 customers right now, one of which we'll announce today. We're in a bit of a quiet period. We're actually going public here in the next few weeks. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a picture of your shoe.
Oh my God, they're so scuffed.
Okay. Well, you just okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, but actually, I'm going to use this as an example.
These are really nice shoes.
Because this is actually something that really happens in life. If you talk about visual search and you talk about getting a picture that's like perfect and has a white background and it's one-to-one matching, and you're right, that has been around for a while, though I don't think really all that effective. But to be able to take a picture like this in real time, and it's blurred, it's not perfect, it's all that type of stuff. How do you actually capture that? Because it might be at this moment that I go, dude, I really love those shoes because they're exactly what I'm looking for, or whatever the case is. So
you should. These are Testonis.
Well, I tell you, they're way out of my price league, that's for sure. So what's happening here is this is actually going in right now and determining what this shoe is, segmenting out, and pulling out similar
even on a
shoes.
very blurry, horrible photo, you did pretty well there.
Yeah. And now that's a pretty generic product, but it caught that it's a men's shoe, which is important, right? So it's not just plain color matching. It caught that it's a certain style. It doesn't have a square toe on it. So we have our algorithms employ an attribution model where every product that comes into our model actually gets attributed, and then the algorithm gets smarter and smarter around it. So one of the things that's been tough in visual search is it's been approached from a scientific perspective, and again, these are just my opinions, where people have said, I'm going to come up with an algorithm that is going to visually identify anything. And the reality is that's just not good enough for the human experience, especially if you're going to buy off of it. So our business model is actually one of the things that makes our visual search so successful. So what I mean by that is we work with a retailer, for example, and they'll upload the portion of their inventory to us that they want to have exact matched or visual search. And we'll start attributing. So a pair of jeans in our algorithm actually has 400 attributes. Wide leg, skinny leg, type of stitch, belt loop size, because you don't know where the picture is going to be taken, right? And so those are all the things that they get inputted into our algorithm and allow it to be taken. But it isn't just fashion. So I purposely took a picture of your shoes because I didn't want anybody to think that I gamed this and took a picture of something that I've taken a picture of before. But one of the other things that we've found, Jason, is that even though this is a fashion app, and people do that and they get a little bit of magic and they go, oh, hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and they know it's a fashion app, but guess what? The next thing they take a picture of is a car. Right? And I go, dude, it's a fashion app. Why'd you? Yeah. But they just, I'm going to show this to my friends and all. That's the viral nature of pictures. So I'm going to take a picture of an orange mug. And what I want to point out here is that when it's looking at this mug, there's a whole bunch of other things in the background, and this has been one of the challenges with visual search in the past, is what is the intent? What is the context? Right? So it's one of the reasons that we deal with specific retailers, because generally if we're dealing with a Home Depot, they know in general, our databases know that we're not looking for fashion items. We're looking for home improvement items. It also helps us profile that customer more and deliver stronger data back to our...
By narrowing the field of possibilities.
By narrowing the field, right, absolutely. Like, how do I know what your intent is when you're looking at something? So But in this case, so it's segmenting out the floor, the walls, the table, the reflections, all that type of stuff. And that's been a big piece of our patented technology. It's now going in and determining, is this a cup, is it a golf ball, is it a car, is it a whatever? And it's not going to come back with an exact match, because we've never had it, but that's pretty close, right? And 96% of everything that's bought on the internet is not exactly what you were looking for.
Sure.
So, but now I'm inspired to go, dude, that is a way funkier mug there. And what StyleFind has, they're an affiliate type model. So I go, I want that mug instead. It immediately hooks up to Google. Supposed to immediately hook up, it's Wi-Fi, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hook up to Google products, and then I can buy that product instantly. But if that was a Home Depot or a Target or whatever, boom, it's on that impulse. And that's that whole Shazam iTunes phenomena. I really love that watch. Boom. If our retailer wants us to price check it, if they we're working with a very large retailer right now doing an implementation, and they actually want price comparison.
Oh, really?
Right? So, and they want in-store, and we're working with other retailers where they don't want price comparison, they only want brands to be compared, or brands to be shopped. So we tailor that experience to whatever that retailer really wants. So,
Great.
So another example of what we do is, I'm just going to turn this off for a quick sec.
Yeah. AirPlay. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not nervous.
Swipe up, yeah. Don't worry about it. Here, give it to me, I'll do it. Oh, you got it.
Yeah, so here, a couple other examples of what we do, and I forgot my Tilly's magazine. I got a Tilly's magazine should be on the table back there if you could grab it.
Your kids are adorable, by the way.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know you're a big dad, so that's awesome. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go to Pinterest. So this is another application of, thanks so much, of our technology. So I'm just going to go to Pinterest. And I'm going to look for, so here's where this was inspired by. So my sister-in-law, she's like early 30s, and last summer she was in like 7 weddings, and then she had to go to a wedding at the end of the summer, and she wanted to find a dress. And so bridesmaids and all that type of stuff, they go to Pinterest, they look for dresses, and the biggest complaint is, yeah, that's great, this is a super dress, but as soon as I look for it on Pinterest, it's like, I can't actually find the dress that I want to purchase. So it's a really frustrating experience for them. So what she ended up using this for is dresses to wear to a wedding when she wasn't a bridesmaid. So what happens here is a couple caveats. I've got some, up here, you'll see this is a plugin, right, that you download. And this will be, you can use our technology over anything on the internet. So whether this is Pinterest or Facebook or Vogue or any Condé Nast.
It's a Chrome plugin.
It's a Chrome plugin.
What's on the page.
Right, okay. So what'll happen here is so we've got one of our customers' inventory in here. I can't tell you which customer, but there's only about 5,000 pieces. So if I go down here to an image, you'll notice I hover over there and the Slyce logo pops up. That would be our customer's logo. So let's say it was a Macy's would pop up there.
Yep.
So I really like that dress. You can hover over it, click on it, and it will actually go into their inventory and pull up the closest matches that they have for that particular dress, right? You can instantly,
so even if they're not stocking it, it's going to give you the next best thing.
because people are looking at that moment of inspiration. That's when you're most open to suggestion of what you think you really like, right? So at this point, I can actually pin it, right? Now, I'm not going to pin it because one of my buddies will be wondering, but I could pin it. So now I'm actually advertising for Macy's when I do this, right? In that social capital way in which really buys a lot of endorsement. Or I can view up a closer image of it. Or if there's multiple things in the picture, I can refine it. Let me just find another image here. That's plenty of image, sorry. So with one of our other customers that isn't just in dresses, we can, actually pinpoint, the handbag in it, or we can pinpoint the dress or the shirt or the shorts or whatever. And so you can see that, this particular retailer just doesn't have that dress, but you can see these are things that can be inspired for them to then continue to shop on that particular person's site. The last demo, and there's all kinds of applications that we can use, but the last one I'll give here is I have a 13-year-old son, and so...
Pull up the reflector.
Yeah, thanks. And he's super into board sports, right? So he, I'm just going to turn the reflector on. But talking to him about what he actually wants to buy and such is like pulling teeth. So here's a magazine that he had laying around. And so specifically, if I want to get him something for a particular day, for a birthday or something like that, and I want to get him some product that I know he thinks is cool, but he won't talk to me about. So Tilly's is one of our customers. Probably shouldn't have told you that, but no other way not to. So I'll go and I'll take a look at this picture right here. Now you'll see there's no product listing on that page. There's nothing that gives anything specifically away. I'm purposely not going to take a picture of the page number, and I use that photo. And I can do that with any picture here, and quite frankly, any picture in any one of their stores. So it pops up here, and it says there's actually 6 products on that page, right? More products than I would have recognized in that ad, right? Like I would have looked at that and thought, oh, there's a shirt and the shoes, and but there's actually T-shirts, there's shoes, there's sunglasses, all that type of stuff. But now I can instantly purchase and buy, right?
So Tilly's built this so that people who get the physical catalog could take pictures of it. Seems a little bit like a weird application. Is that going to be a big application, or is
I think it's a transitionary stage
Yeah.
for them, right? So they're pretty excited by so they send out 10 million of these magazines every 6 months, right? With across 2 seasons, and they get tremendous buy-in off of it. But their demographic is obviously getting more and more mobile, but they're just not quite there yet, and they don't want to give up on their traditional catalog magazine. So this is a nice transition for them. But if you look at like the Vogues or the Condé Nast of the world, who have tremendous assets in big magazines, and they want to be able to go back to their advertisers and say, look, we can give you one-click purchasing just by somebody who likes a magazine. That's where that will end up going to. We'll hopefully transition more into this type of a product here.
And what does Pinterest think of what you're doing here in this demo? Have they seen it? Did you approach them about, hey, we'd like to build this into Pinterest, or we think this is something we could do a joint venture on? What was their feedback?
Yeah, so the feedback was fairly elusive, and we're not overly, we just think it's a great option for our retailers. We're not sure if they're happy about it or not. Yeah. But whether it's Pinterest or any other web page, it's something that we can provide. So we think they'll have tremendous interest in it, but they obviously, I can't speculate.
What about the reverse? I mean, you're talking about customers taking pictures of stuff and finding stuff online. What about the companies and the brands finding their products out in the real world on social media? Like taking my catalog and saying, find my 200 different products on Instagram, report back to me, and maybe favorite automatically anybody wearing our T-shirts.
I think any and all of that stuff is possible. I mean, the first of all is just being able to get people interacting with that picture and getting them uploading. And then we have incredible customer data. So really, what we realized, through trial and error is that providing visual search is not what our customers are really interested in. What our customers are interested in is the data of that visual search. So we know, where you took that picture, if you were in a competitor store, what were the 4 pictures before, what were the 3 after, what were the brands you took pictures of, were you at a friend's place, did you share it, did you Instagram it, like all of that stuff is unbelievably rich data that they now have. And so where they take it into examples like that, I think it's yet to be seen.
We had a couple of different demos this morning, which I'm sure you saw, where people were getting sentiment from people.
Yeah, amazing.
And then also the perch, could have a camera in it as well. What about connecting people coming into the store, what they're wearing, and then putting it against what's the inventory of the store and cataloging them, saying, hey, this person's got a very like Coachella type look, and this person looks like he's more of an Armani type person.
Yeah, you got it, yeah.
Yeah, start directing them to the store. It can go
in, like we get 2 pages of notes over at our table here when both those demos were going on. We were just like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, we could be visual search up and the projector down, and and then the sentiment could be involved in actually what we're capturing with our visual search, with the clothes that person has on, and how does that, it goes off and on forever.
And so what is you've raised a bunch of money for this technology. You're applying it to retail. Why are you applying this to retail? Most people would say, like, hey, that's a difficult, or just to products and catalogs, a difficult nut to crack. Has it been difficult to get people to embrace this?
Well, so we're serial builders, and we were working on a project previously, and where we put cameras on the International Space Station. And we wanted to build a competitor to Google Earth. And so we think we've done it, and it ended up being a B2G play instead of a B2C play.
Business to government.
To government, yeah. Anyway, long story short, we were sitting around, and every Friday on our engineering floor, we have Music Fridays, and we were listening to music. A great song came on, and I Shazammed the song. And a guy two-door, and because it was easier to Shazam a song than it was to yell 40 feet over and say...
Music Fridays? I don't know this, Music Fridays. On Fridays you play music?
Yeah, we just crank tunes all day on Friday and, do our stuff, right? And there's, big battles on whose playlist is better and that kind of stuff. So it's easier to Shazam the song and get it into my iTunes than it was to yell 40 feet across the floor and search the song and put it in, and, kind of a waste of time. And so I just did that, and a guy 2 desks over from me said, wouldn't it be just great if you could Shazam anything? And we're like, that's our next project. That's what we want to build. So there wasn't really any thought about, oh, should we do this in retail, or should we do this here, or should we do that? It was like, no, that's what we wanted to do, and so that's where we built it for. Now, that being said, we have got unbelievably, and we won't really pursue it aggressively. We've got some tests happening and some stuff happening, but we won't aggressively pursue it for another 1.5 years or so. But healthcare is massive.
How so?
Well, wound care, for example. So
wound care. Take a picture of this wound.
Take a picture of the wound. It's an ulcer.
Here's wounds that are similar.
Similar, or instantly.
Here's other people who've fallen off their motorcycle.
So a home care worker walks into an age home, right? Takes a picture of an ulcer that's happening that generally doesn't ever get looked at, and it compares all the stuff and it says, hey, send this to the doctor right away. The doctor goes, oh my gosh, that's that is bad, or battlefield situations, or after surgery scars that the redness, the hue, the length. All those types of things where people typically have to come back in and get referred.
Fascinating.
It's a $4 billion industry just in the U.S. And we didn't plan on it. We've just kind of fallen into it. So
it's also internal photography, which is starting to happen more and more as well. It could get very interesting.
Yeah.
People swallowing cameras and other types of imaging. So for retailers, how do you get them to embrace something cutting edge like this when they're basically trying to survive and they're in a economic sort of situation where maybe they're, closing stores or
We just send them the latest Amazon article. Amazon Flow just came out. Amazon new 3D camera coming out, and they're just like, we need help. We're not going to build these things ourselves. How can we, and that was part of our model. Like initially, we thought we're going to build this B2C model and go out and become the Shazam of everything else, right? And realizing that $100 million later, we probably still wouldn't get there. And as we were doing, actually building out these inventories with retailers, they were like, by the way, we're actually not going to let you put us in a consumer model because we're tired of getting compared to everything. But if you want to build that for us specifically, we'd be happy to work with you. And that's how. And then it was after about 3 months of hearing that continuously that we made a pivot and said, this needs to be a B2B model.
Let's talk about Google Glass and other wearables. Do you think there's a place for this? People walking down the street and, they say, okay, Glass, where can I buy that person's outfit?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's where it's going to go. Sometimes we got into investor meetings early and they're like, oh, well, you can't do that now. We're not ready. And I'm like, that's a year or two, maybe 3 away. But certainly it's coming, and it's coming pretty quick. And on that platform or any visual, and it's a reason that we didn't want to become a player that was like going to compete with Google or compete with Amazon. We want to take those platforms and enable either the people that compete with them, or we want to be able to be, part of that ecosystem. So 100%, you will use those devices to take a picture of something and visually identify it. Visual identification today is where text identification was 10 years ago, and we've seen how far that's come. So 10 years ago, if you typed in the word red, you literally got the color red. Today, if you type in the color red and you're in Washington, you might get something about the whole Ukraine situation, depending on the profile and everything you are and what was the last search that you did, and it really gives you that context. Where if I'm in some other part of the country, I might get something about the local sports team. Well, today, visual search is actually quite literal, but it will advance that quickly over the next couple of years to actually understand your behavior and what you are really looking for, and why that's crazy important is because that's when it will actually become everything will become purchasable.
Let's take a question from the audience if somebody has one. We'll run a microphone over, just raise your hand. What does it cost to sort of put this into a retailer today? Like, what is your minimum engagement?
Yeah, so we have 4 retail levers that are revenue levers that we can pull. So we have an upfront engagement fee, depending, and quite often it depends, what department we're dealing with in the retailer. If it's the digital department or the advertising department or the merchandising department, they have a different budget that they can pull from. So we can have an upfront integration fee. Then we have a monthly maintenance fee. So if they want to do exact matching, we can take their exact products, put them in our database so that that exact product will get picked up anytime anybody takes a picture of it. So that's a monthly, generally between 3 and 12 cents, depending on a bunch of things they want to do. And then we get a per search fee. So every time somebody takes a picture, we can get anywhere between 3 and 12 cents again every time there's a picture. But we deliver unbelievably rich data about that user, at that time.
So tens of thousands of dollars to set up, and then some hundreds to thousands of dollars a month if people use it.
Yeah, depending on how many SKUs they've got and how many pictures people are taking. And then we could also obviously, and we have in some cases, moved into a percentage of revenue. So a typical type of affiliate fee. But we're really all about getting adoption right now. So we'll, wherever we need to move that revenue lever is where we move it.
Okay, one question from the audience, go ahead.
Why are your search algorithms unique or better than other people's?
I think because we're very focused on a specific, retail solution, not just an industry sector, but a retail solution. So we have ideal situations where, retailers we ingest specific pieces of their inventory, and we work with the behavior of their clients over their app. So, I could sit here and jump up and down and say our PhDs are better than their PhDs and all the rest of it. I really think it's our business model approach and our laser focus on providing a solution for that specific set. From there, we will go out and, expand our set. But there's no one scientific solution that fits all visual search, because your brain's different than mine and I see things different than you.
All right, let's hear for Cameron from Slyce. Well done.
Thanks so much.
You did great.